the great differences, I think, between ReplayAirsoft.com and a lot of our competitors is that we have a lot of personal experience with the products that we sell. I know there's a lot of companies that are out there that have a huge selection of guns, and they have guys that'll be glad to sell them to you, but they've never actually taken the thing off the shelf, and they, honestly don't know the first thing about the gun that they're selling. Where here, we like to take them out in the arena, we let people use them, we have our rental guns here, where we like to see how the guns perform before we put them out on the market. That way, we're not selling people pieces of junk. One of my great concerns is that I just don't want to sell somebody a product and then have them come back because the thing was a piece of crap and the thing's now broken. It's just not good business, and quite frankly, from my side of it, it's a giant pain in the neck because now we've got to try to return it to the manufacturer, get some kind of credit, get them to repair it, whatever. It's just not worth it. So I would rather sell products that just don't break. Now, up until recently, I've had kind of a low opinion of electric pistols because obviously they're a lot smaller than the electric rifles, and to me, it's obvious that they're going to shoot at a lower performance than the rifle. Now, a lot of people don't, understand that. The whole concept just goes by them that you're miniaturizing it. You're basically getting a smaller piston, a smaller spring, a smaller motor than the full-size rifles, so your performance is going to be lacking in comparison. A lot of people will buy an electric pistol and then they'll come back and they're all pissed off. It's like, this thing's nowhere near the kind of performance I get from my rifle. Well, yeah, you know what? No kidding. It's half the size of your rifle. What are you expecting? But some people just don't understand that. And as a result, I've just sort of shied away from electric pistols because I get sick and tired of explaining that concept over and over again. Now, there are other options in the way of pistols where you have CO2 and green gas, which, give you a reasonable performance in around 350 feet per second, which is the target velocity for me that, if you're shooting airsoft and playing competitively and shooting at other people, that is the optimal velocity, in my opinion, where you're not going to cause bodily damage to other people. Now, the problem with green gas and CO2 is you have to buy, gas or CO2 in order to keep the gun running, so they can get a little bit pricey to use. So that brings us back to electric pistols is, I've always thought, wouldn't it be nice to have something where you don't have to spend all that extra money to keep the gun running? So we're back to electric guns again. Now, up until recently, like I said, I just haven't been that excited about them because the performance has been somewhat lacking. Although I have to say that my opinion has been changing because of my experience with the guns that we're going to be talking about today, which are the CYMA line of auto-electric pistols. The first gun that really changed my opinion about auto-electric pistols was the CYMA CM030, which is a very good replica of the Glock 18C. Now, the Glock 18C is a handgun that not only fires semi-automatic, but can be switched to fire fully automatic. Now, this is a very rare gun, needless to say, on the market, that even if you got a Class 3 license, they're very hard to come by. These are things that are pretty much sought after by millionaire collectors. So just having a replica of the gun is highly collectible, in my opinion. Now, CYMA basically took the Tokyo Marui Glock 18C and made a slightly more cost-effective version of the same gun. I've taken both of them apart, and the gearboxes are almost identical. So this is basically a knockoff of the Tokyo Marui Glock 18C. Just like the Glock 18C, the CM030 can fire in both semi-automatic and fully automatic modes, which can be switched simply by changing the selector switch located at the rear of the slide. The sights on the CM030 are highly visible, basically Glock style, with the fixed front post and rear notch with the highlighting around the notch. Now, there are no adjustments for these sights, but this is a very short-range weapon anyway, so I wouldn't expect to have any kind of target sights on a gun of this type. The magazine is released from the gun in the same way that you would expect from any handgun, where you have your mag catch, which is located at the rear of the trigger guard. You just simply depress that, which allows the mag to drop free. Now, this is a stick-style magazine, so for those of you that like to have the full-size magazines in your guns, unfortunately, because of the way that the gearbox is arranged inside of the grip, there's just no room for a full-size magazine. Now, the nice thing about these is, number one, they're a little bit smaller, so you can fit a lot more of these in your pockets, so you can carry a lot more ammunition. And also, because it's a fairly simple design, they're about half the price of what you would expect to pay if you were using either green gas or CO2 magazines. The CM030 has a standard Picatinny rail located on the lower part of the frame, so if you want to customize your gun with either lasers or flashlights, they just simply slide onto the standard Picatinny rail. This pistol has one thing that a Glock doesn't have, which is a manual safety. So if you want to turn the safety on this gun, it's basically where the takedown lever would be on a Glock. You just simply press it down and that deactivates the trigger, and you just simply press it up to reactivate the trigger. The battery in the CM030 is located inside of the slide. So to get to the battery compartment, you simply press the rear of the slide, which unlocks it, allowing you to get to the battery compartment. To release the battery, there is a little lever located on the side of the barrel, so you simply rotate the lever down, which ejects the battery from the side of the barrel. While I've got the slide off of the gun, you'll notice that this actually does have an adjustable hop-up located at the rear of the barrel. This is noteworthy because I've seen a lot of, even high-end CO2 and green gas guns that have just a plain fixed hop-up on it. This one, you can actually dial it in. Another nice feature is that you can actually adjust it while you're shooting the gun, where a lot of the other CO2 and green gas guns, you've got to disassemble it, try to adjust the hop-up, put the gun back together, try it again. If it doesn't work, you got to disassemble it, and it takes forever. This gun, you can actually shoot it with the slide off and just dial in the hop-up to get the desired effect. To reinstall the battery, you simply have to first locate where the connector is on the battery, which has a little white arrow to show you which way it goes. And there's a little dovetail located at the rear of the barrel. So this simply fits into the dovetail and clicks into the space that's provided. And to finish the job, you just simply put the slide back on and press it down till it clicks, and you're back in business. One other thing that's worth mentioning about the gun is the magazine is a double stack configuration that holds about 25 rounds if you load it up properly. Now you can over compress the spring and probably get about 28 rounds in there, but I generally do not recommend loading magazines to their maximum capacity because it tends to over compress the spring and it will end up just being less effective. So if you want your mags to last longer, only load them about 90% of the actual amount that the magazine will hold. When we fire the gun through the chronograph, we get an average velocity of around 200 feet per second on this gun. The best thing that I can say about this gun is we have sold a ton of these, and I have seen very, very few problems with the gun mechanically. It just lasts. Now, it's not the most accurate gun because it has a fairly short barrel, but if you're looking for something that's going to last you a long time, this is definitely a gun to consider. The next gun we're going to talk about today is the CM121, which is a full-size replica of the IMI Desert Eagle. This gun has a full metal slide, so it's very realistic feeling in both the weight and the size of it. Just like the Glock, the Desert Eagle fires in both fully automatic and semi-automatic modes. So to change from one to the other, you just simply change this lever located at the rear of the slide. One nice feature about the Desert Eagle is that you have both upper as well as lower rails on the gun, so you've got a lot of space for adding accessories to the gun. Just good luck finding a holster that you can fit it into once you put all those accessories on it. Just like the Glock, the Desert Eagle has a battery system that is located inside of the slide. So to get to the battery, you simply pull the hammer back, releasing the slide, allowing you to remove it, exposing the battery compartment located right under the barrel. Just like the Glock, the Desert Eagle has the same basic system for removing and inserting batteries. So to remove the battery, you just simply pull on the little lever located on the side of the barrel, which ejects the battery out of the side of the gun. And to reinsert the battery, it just simply slides into the little dovetail. And you'll notice it has the same hop-up system, so you don't have to completely disassemble the gun in order to adjust the hop-up on this particular gun. One important difference between the Glock and the Desert Eagle is the magazine that goes into the Desert Eagle. Even though this looks very similar to the magazine that goes into the Glock, these are not interchangeable. They have different areas where the magazine locks into it, and the Desert Eagle has the little floor plate, so this is a unique magazine for that particular gun. The third gun we're going to talk about today is the CM123, which is basically an M1911 replica. Now, although this is a very good 1911 replica, there is one major difference between this and a standard 1911, which is the width of the slide. Now, they have to get a battery into the compartment, so it has to be a little bit wider in order to accommodate that, so it's much fatter. So if you're planning on getting this into a standard Serpa holster for an M1911, it's probably not going to work. You're going to have to probably get just like a standard generic holster for this to work in. So if you compare this to a standard 1911, you could see that it is significantly fatter. Now, the CM123 is essentially the same as the Glock with some minor aesthetic differences. Both of them will fire in both semi as well as full auto. Although to change from semi to full on this gun, what was normally the thumb safety on a 1911 is the fire select for the CM123. To get to the battery on the CM123, you simply press down on the slide release, which allows you to unlock the slide, revealing the battery compartment inside. Now, it's basically the same system as the Desert Eagle and the Glock, where you've got the little lever on the side. You just simply press down on the lever, releasing the battery just like all the others, and you have the same adjustable hop-up as the others. Reassembly is pretty much the same. You just take the battery with the arrow pointing down. It fits into the little dovetail, allowing you to attach the battery, and then the slide just simply slips back onto it, and you just press the catch back up, locking the slide in place. To release the magazine on the CM123, you just simply press on the mag catch, which is the same thing as any standard 1911, allowing you to drop the magazine, which is the same magazine as the Glock. So these are interchangeable. So if you have both of these guns, you can use the magazines interchangeably between the Glock and the 1911. As far as the performance of all three guns, since they use the same exact gearbox, it's pretty much consistent from one to the next, where you get about 200 feet per second with a .25 gram BB, which in my opinion is more than adequate for CQB airsoft. Now, if you're playing outside with this, you might find this to be a little bit underpowered, but if you're doing like indoor arena kind of play, you're going to find this to be a very good choice for that kind of environment. So that's the basics on the CYMA line of auto-electric pistols. And keep in mind, I would not recommend these for every conceivable scenario that you would use an airsoft pistol, but so long as you can work within the limits of this gun, this would be a great choice. Unfortunately, it does not have the blowback and the realism of some of the gas guns, but what it does give you in return is, number one, very dependable. It's going to work in just about any condition, where the gas guns tend to be limited in colder temperatures. These will work in freezing cold or boiling hot weather, and they're just straight up economical. You don't have to worry about spending a lot of money on green gas or CO2. If you want to find out more about these guns, stop on down to the store. You can try them out in the airsoft arena, or if you can get down here, just check them out online at replayairsoft.com. So until the next time, don't let the bastards get you down.